going on? Happy Friday, happy April, and happy MLB Swing for the Fences time. I'm Eric Crane. I'm joined by G. Riser. We got Mangone. We're here to break down tonight's MLB DFS slate. And guys, I'm excited for this slate. I think there's a couple teams that are going to be very low owned that I like to have a lot of upside. G. Riser, I know you like a few spots that you think might be a little chalky and you're ready to kick to the curb. Mangone, you barely made it in before the show, so we're just happy to have you here, man. Let's kick it off with G. Rison. G. Rison, how we doing on this Friday?
Hey, it's end of the work week. We got some money to make over the weekend, breaking down some baseball. It's always fun. Hey, we got the NFL draft, so we're going to have a little fun. We're going to watch the draft tonight, on TV, and we get to watch a little DFS on our phone, have some fun tonight. So I'm excited to get in there. I mean, being a Lions fan, I still don't know what the hell they were thinking, but, it is what it is. But, hey, I'm not an expert at, grading NFL talent, maybe DFS purposes, but not in their world. But, exciting to be here and break it down. We already had a couple rain delays. So, yeah, I'm kind of excited. There's some spots that I don't like that I think a lot of people do. So we'll get into that here shortly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, it's been a fun few days, with the draft going on, a lot of sports going on. Tonight is an elite sports draft night. We got rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL draft. We got NBA playoffs. I'm excited for the NHL playoffs. I know I might be the only guy on the show that's excited for that. We got a lot of baseball tonight. Mangone, how are you managing your time tonight, man? What's the Mangone TV situation?
Yeah, I have 3 TVs, so we can put it all on. It's just how do we manage it, right? So that's the question. Last night I put the draft on the main one, and then eventually I switched over. I was like, I don't need to watch picks 20 and 21. The Celtics game was getting good. We had it on the one TV. We upped the volume on the other. But tonight it's going to be NBA for me. Is going to be the main focus. We got some game 6s. I like some NBA. And listen, I like baseball, but it's still April. You know what I mean? We got a lot of time to really get excited about baseball. So I'm sure Crane's going to have some hockey on. If I have people over Crane, we might have to have the Avalanche on because the Avalanche fans in Denver are in shambles right now. They are definitely
good because you know what? The Avalanche fans and the Colorado Avalanche can honestly just go fuck themselves. I cannot stand that team. I can't stand the franchise. The owner is the owner. He also owns the Rams, so he moved the Rams out of St. Louis. So all those guys can just go take a hike. I will be rooting hard for the Seattle Kraken tonight. I'll be rooting hard for my St. Louis Cardinals tonight. And I'll be rooting hard for, my NBA lineups. I don't even know who's on them yet. But it's going to be a good time, though.
I don't know who's on my NBA lineups yet either, so don't worry. I don't know who are on my MLB ones, but we'll break it down. We'll talk about it. We'll go game by game and talk about the pitchers. I see we got a pretty tasty pitcher slate to talk about, a lot of different guys in different ranges. So I think I'll have the NBA on the main TV. I'll have the draft on, and I don't know, who knows if the hockey games get good, I'll jump in there. But
hockey games are always good. The hockey games are always good.
Baseball's getting tonight, Crane. Baseball's getting like the Yahoo score thing on my computer. I'm sorry. It's not getting dedication on the main screen.
Oh, well, you know what? I mean, that's Mango, and we all make mistakes. All right, I get it. Like
know what it might get? It might get on the big screen for the Mexico City game or Mexico game that's going to be tomorrow. I'll say that. That's going to be exciting. I can't wait to kind of dive into that tomorrow. That'll be interesting for sure. So, but yeah, we got tons of sports going on. I mean, MMA this weekend. People are asking, where's DC? Well, he did an MMA show earlier, and he's going to be on the Up the Lock show talking baseball with AP. So, listen, so many sports going on, but we're breaking it all down for you guys.
Yep, and G. Rison, you mentioned earlier we have some weather issues. Real quick, the Pirates at Nationals, that game has been canceled. The other game that's been canceled is the Orioles at the Tigers. Those games are no more. So we're going to have a 9-game slate right now, and we're still waiting on news with the Braves and the Mets. I don't know if that one is going to go. It's certainly questionable right now. We'll talk about the game, but it's not a game that I'm going to be focusing on for DFS purposes. One thing I will be focusing on, of course, is pitchers. We need to get the pitchers. And I'm lucky, okay? I'm playing on FanDuel tonight. What does that mean? Is that I only have to choose one pitcher. And guess what, G. Rison? I know exactly who that's going to be because I cannot fathom fading Jacob deGrom tonight. Can you imagine a world where you're going to fade him?
Yeah, no. I mean, I generally like to pay down for bats, but I think in this slate, it's kind of hard. That's a tough one to swallow because, I mean, look at that Yankee lineup. I mean, it hasn't come out yet. I haven't seen it drop yet, but I mean, they're watered down a little bit here. I mean, this is a spot, DeGrom. I mean, he's 42% K rate. He's the best pitcher on the planet universe. So I mean, it's kind of hard to fade him. I mean, I think he can put up a 50 or 60 spot pretty easy. I think a lot of people are going to play him because I think a lot of these teams that like the Reds or the A's or somebody like that, they're fairly cheap. So I think there's a lot of paths that are going to involve DeGrom. So, I mean, to win a big tournament, you may have to swallow that pill and fade them and try to maybe get some bigger bats and maybe find – because, I mean, if you're going to like a team like let's just say the Dodgers or let's just say the Cardinals or somebody like along those lines, I mean, you're going to pay up for them. So you're going to have to probably find somebody else that maybe can get you a 45 spot. And, you know, maybe you can be about 15, 20 points less than what DeGrom ceiling may be, which really is a home run. So, I mean, yeah, if you can nail some bats today and get that right mid-level pitcher, I think that's, you know, obviously probably the path to the big tournaments with a lot of people. But I think if you're playing in smaller type contests, I just don't think it's a good idea to fade DeGrom. But in the big field contest, I mean, I think there's a good argument for it.
Yeah, and you know, on DraftKings, Mangone, to me, it's not whether or not you fade DeGrom is who you pair DeGrom with. Are you on the same page? Are you playing Jacob DeGrom kind of no matter what?
Yeah, I'll say this. I did a show last year. I remember the specific show, and Jacob DeGrom was like 90% owned, and everyone was like, how can you fade him? And I said, I agree. I don't know how you can fade him, but like, I don't know. Like it's just, he's 90%. Like that's the reason, and that's it alone. And he didn't end up being on the winner. So, I mean, if you can fade him there, you can fade him in any spot, I guess is what I'm getting at here. It just depends on how much risk you want to take. It makes more sense to do it in the large field GPP where the prize pools are very top heavy, or maybe do it in a live final seat, right? Those things where, hey, if he does fail, then that's going to be big. But you have to decide where you want to be different. On these bigger slates, I typically am not as different at pitcher. I typically like to get more different with my bats if I have to pick. I'm likely just going to play DeGrom, 8.5 strikeout total on the props. Next closest one is Valdez at 6.5. You could make the argument, hey, if you don't want to pay for DeGrom, maybe it's going down for cheaper pitching options to get in some more expensive bats. So that's another way you can make it work. The good thing is DraftKings is starting to price some guys up, right? Like DeGrom is at least 11.5K here in this spot. He's not down at this like 9-8 range or something egregious like he was at the start of the year. So that starts to make baseball a little more interesting to me. I like when the pricing gets a little tighter with that because then it gives you some interesting kind of constructions that people can and can't get to, and they got to make decisions. Do I want the pitching or do I want the bats? So on FanDuel, Crane, yes, you can just play DeGrom and move on. And FanDuel has terrible pricing too, where they got Juan Soto.
Easy.
Okay,
it's easy.
It's stupid. It's absolutely dumb. So that's just where we're at. But I like DeGrom. Obviously a good play. The next guy that I think people are going to like to go to is Framber Valdez. Going against his Philadelphia Phillies offense. The Philadelphia Phillies are a team that we can target. They're kind of like, the way I like to describe them is they're like the New York Yankees, like light, right? The light version of them where, hey, they can hit a ton of home runs or they swing and miss with the best of them. And this is kind of last year's version. I'm not talking about this year's version, but they can swing and miss with the best of them at times. They do have a loaded top of the lineup, but Brandon Marsh's been hitting really well. Trey Turner crushing the ball. This is a spot where Framber Valdez can have his struggles, but he can also see the ceiling performance. One rule that I might set is maybe keep DeGrom and Valdez separate from each other. Those are ways you can kind of build contrarian type teams. If everyone's just going to pound in DeGrom and Valdez, maybe you get a little bit different with the way you build out your teams and separate two of the chalkier pitchers on the slate and not have them on the same team. That's one way you could easily do it right off the bat to make yourself a bit different. We also do have some other names at the top, like Aaron Nola, for instance. I mean, Aaron Nola, yeah, floor can be low, but he is going against his Houston team. And let me see what the Houston lineup is. I was doing an NBA show before, so maybe you haven't seen the lineup come out yet, but Houston's lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's not beautiful. It's definitely not beautiful. It's Kyle Tucker, Alex Bregman, Jose Abreu, and 6 dudes.
Yeah, correct.
Mauricio, yeah.
It's more
not
of
great. Jeremy Pena too. I shouldn't disrespect Jeremy Pena like that, but I mean, it's not great.
It's more of a Crane. If we were going to target the Houston Astros, wouldn't this maybe be the spot, right? At low ownership, a high ceiling kind of guy. We're not saying Aaron Nola is the only stud on the slate. On the slate, he's going to be like 25, 30% owned. He's going to be single digits, right? So it's not the craziest idea to take a chance on Aaron Nola. His projection isn't bad either. So I don't think it's the craziest thing in the world. Luis Castillo's another guy up here and this is the reason to maybe make the pivot off DeGrom. There are pivots that are just going to be way less owned than him if you want to take a chance on that. Or maybe it's taking the pivot off of Valdez for Castillo or Nola. I mean, we have guys priced up here that are names, right? Even Shane Bieber. Yes, pitching in Boston, not an ideal ballpark, but are you scared of the Boston Red Sox offense? Because I'm not.
No.
There's definitely aces on the mound that you can take a chance on up here at the top. If I had to rank him, it's clearly DeGrom number one, right? He's the best pitching option. If I had to pick my second favorite option, I might go to the other side and go to Aaron Nola over Framber Valdez. And I probably put Valdez 3, and then I put Luis Castillo at number 4. But I don't think the Aaron Nola idea for a price savings of $400 at an ownership discount of maybe a third or a fourth of the ownership, I don't think it's the craziest idea to take a chance on Aaron Nola up top, Crane.
You know, another guy that they mentioned in the chat that I wanted to make sure we brought up, Drew Rosinski. He's getting pushed up. He's going to be pitching for Oakland at home against Cincinnati. We know we like that ballpark, and we like that saving, those savings. We were talking about Jacob deGrom spinning up 11.5K. All right, that's expensive. It's a little uncomfortable to pay that price. G-Rise and Rosinski's a way to kind of fit deGrom in, fit those Coors bats if you want them, fit another expensive stack if you want them. I'm afraid it might be a little bit too popular, but just from a projection standpoint, 4K for Rosinski, I don't think can really be wrong.
No, yeah, I mean, that's why you and I are going to play on FanDuel, right? So we don't have to make.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it. I'm fine. My legs are kicked up. I'm good.
Right.
You guys enjoy.
Exactly. We don't have to sweat that one out because, I mean, to me, to play any Oakland A's pitcher, that bullpen sucks. I mean, it's horrendous, man. I mean, that's to me the new Coors Field. As I said last Friday and the Friday before, I'd stay away. I feel like I don't have a chance to get a win. So, I mean, on FanDuel, to me, the win and the quality start. I mean, you can get that. All you need is 4 or 5Ks. You're in the mid 40s generally if you can get that. So, to me, that's kind of important. I feel win equity is something I definitely consider, and I just can't even see it. I mean, if you can get, 10, 12, 15 points from that guy, yeah, sure, you're great. But, 4K, I just can't do it. I wouldn't even do it. I still would probably look somewhere else, try to figure out another path to get it. I mean, to play, I just not a fan, to be honest with you.
No, I get it. And I'm afraid that if you play deGrom and Rosinski together, then you're going to end up on a roster construction that is incredibly popular. Mangone, I think that's more the argument for not playing Rosinski than anything else. What do you think about Rosinski?
Yeah, I mean, no one is going to go down there. But for me, I don't think I need to go down that cheap. I think there's enough cheaper options that have enough upside that I could take a chance on. Let's start with Alek Manoah. I mean, he's going to have some ownership, right? But he's 6'9" against Seattle. Not everyone's dying to go after Seattle, but Manoah does have upside at the price. I don't think he's the craziest idea. David Peterson against the Braves. You could take a chance on that. Like, how many people are actually going to target the Atlanta Braves? No one's really doing that. Yeah, projection ownership says that, but I'm not buying it completely. I want to kind of look at ownership a little bit more, but I don't think it's the craziest idea. Peterson has been playing a little bit better. Another guy you can go to is on the opposite side of the mound is Max Fried, right? Going up against the Mets. But the question is, do you want to target the Mets, right? That's the big thing. I don't want to mess
with that game. Like that game to me, that's got some big rain issues. I'm not touching that game, especially with pitchers.
To be fair, I don't care about rain till it's an hour before, right? Like that's that's part of it. And being on a show, I probably should think about that a little bit better for you guys, but that's how I
honestly, it's not a bad way to go, man. Going because you know what? Though generally, how many times have we seen when people stay off a rain game and then you prepare yourself and you play it and you hit it? I mean, you get such low ownership. So, you're right. Wait until like an hour before to really X that game out if you're not sure. I think that's better advice than just.
I got too much going on. I'm Xing
because this is what happens, Crane. This is what happens. You get this 6 o'clock and then you don't know what's happening and you sit there for 30 minutes and you're just watching Discord and you become a weatherman and you stop being a DFS player. That's what happens. And I want to spend that hour leading up, getting my teams all buttoned up and everything. I think that's part of the reason why.
How do you think life would? Do you think life would be good as a weatherman? I think that would be a fun life. I think that'd be.
You got to wake up early, Crane. You got to be up at the crack of dawn.
That's a problem. That's a problem for me. I'm not doing that.
And you got to wear dress clothes. And you got to wear dress clothes. Who the hell wants to wear dress clothes?
That's fair.
I don't even own any dress clothes.
My friends see me in the suit, they think I went to court.
Imagine Crane getting up in the morning. He's got his suit on. He's in the office right before he does the weather. He's got a donut in hand, ready to go. Like
well, the donut thing does happen.
Crane.
The donut thing happens regardless. That's whether I'm a weatherman or not. But yeah, G-Rise, we didn't get your take on some of these other mid-tier pitchers, guys. You know, and these guys have been bad this year. Look, Alex Manoah, not been great. Aaron Nola, not been great. Shane Bieber, not been great. You got to kind of have a leap of faith with these guys. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It should keep the ownership down, though. I suspect Manoah will get quite a bit of ownership at just 6.9K. G-Rise, what's your take on these other pitchers kind of in the mid-range?
Yeah, you know, I mean, when you look at these mid-range pitchers, there isn't that many that I feel are a safe 40 burger. You know, a lot of times you can feel like, hey, there's 4 or 5 guys I think can, you know, pretty safely probably get me a 40 that's in a good spot. I'll tell you, like, Manoah's getting some talk, but I've watched him his last 2 starts, and he looks frazzled by this pitch clock. Like, he's rushing, and he doesn't look right, I mean, to me. So I think some guys are in an adjustment period, and Manoah is a guy that I think has struggled with this pitch clock. I think almost every game he's had a couple pitch clock violations. You could see it frustrates him at times. So I'm going to wait on him a little bit. I'm not really happy with what I've been seeing out of Manoah. Now, Luis Castillo, he's interesting. I mean, he's always a guy. He's been pitching great. I mean, I think he's somebody you could definitely look at if you wanted to pivot off DeGrom. But I think that's why I'm so heavy on DeGrom, Crane. I mean, I'm looking at some of these other guys, and I'm thinking, I just don't feel comfortable with any of them really feeling good about getting me 40. Now, Framber with this Phillies lineup, his strikeouts have been up. He's got 7 Ks, you know, a handful of his last starts here. So, I mean, I think he's a guy that, you know, you could definitely look at. But, you know, guys like Manoah and Nola, I mean, I'm not interested in Nola. He's been struggling. Now he gets the Astros. No, thanks. I don't really want to.
And you don't really get a discount. You don't really get a discount on Nola either.
Well, Can we talk to the FanDuel guys over to DraftKings for a second? Alek Manoah is 6.9K over there, while Merrill Kelly is 7.3 in Coors, right? Like, I think the thing to mention with Manoah is the price discount and the ceiling he has is just worth considering. Now, ownership will come along with that, I think.
He's going to be chalk for sure, yeah.
You could make a case that the Max Fried ownership and the Peterson possible ownership all shifts over to him or gets spread out between some of these cheap options. But Manoah is not the same price as Nolan. FanDuel, I'm assuming it is. I've looked more at DK today, but that's kind of the reason I think Manoah is a strong candidate today.
I mean, Manoah is FanDuel. I mean,
okay, I was just going to say, I have no idea what Manoah is on FanDuel. I clicked DeGrom and I was done.
He's 9.8.
That was my whole FanDuel process today.
Yeah, he's 9.8. Framber's 10.5. I mean, you know, DeGrom's 10.4, 10.4, I think it was. 11.4, I'm sorry. But, yeah, I mean, Manoah, you're right. And that is something, Mangone, I didn't do today. You don't really like to do. I like to compare what the pricing is between different pitchers because, you know, different sites, different algorithms, everything else. So I do like to sometimes see the discrepancies in the prices. But, yeah, I mean, that's just something, you know, we can talk about. I mean, you know, you go along. I mean, there's some decent pitchers. I mean, Dustin May hasn't really been, you know, all that good. I mean, Zeppelin, I'm not really enamored with. Giolito, I mean, who wants to go against the Rays at this point? You know, best offense in baseball. I mean, and playing on FanDuel, I don't need to go to like a Clark Schmidt or Luis Sessa against the A's or somebody like that. So, you know, for me, it's pretty easy to lock DeGrom today, try to be a little different with some bats. But I don't mind Framber, though. If you're playing in a bit, you know, a large tournament, 1,000 people or so, you might want to be a little different. I don't mind Framber at all. That's probably where I'd go. I'm not interested in Manoah or Nola for that fact. But, Crane, I think I got a limited pitching pool today. And it's pretty much, if I had 10 lineups, 9 of them would have DeGrom.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if DeGrom wasn't on the slate, Framber would be the guy for me. That would be the guy that I would just throw in my lineup and figure out the rest later. Mangone, would he kind of be your second option if DeGrom wasn't on the slate?
Yeah, DeGrom's definitely the one. I'd say second option. I think based on ownership, I'd just go Nola. Framber and Nola are both really good plays. You're right. Like, if we want to talk the optimal play, right, the guy that's going to pop the most, the guy, if I was playing cash games and we were doing a head-to-head tonight, Crane, I don't know if you remember those things. They're crazy, though, like a little head-to-head action. I would take Framber Valdez. Yes, that's who I would take. But I think in tournaments, Nola at a third of the ownership, even maybe a fourth of the ownership, I think it's worth taking a gamble on. I'll at least say that. So I think Nola would be 2, and then I'd put Framber at number 3. That's how I would rank him a bit.
Yeah, Nola's, I don't know, those big strikeout games just haven't been there. Like his max is 6 on the year. He has 7 strikeouts his last 2 starts and 13 innings.
So one thing just to counter with Scary Creations that brings up Manoah averages 1.2 points per game at home. We have literally not been a month through baseball. So let's see what the matchups Aaron Nola was in, right? So he played against Colorado, he played against Cincinnati. Fair points, Crane, Miami. Those are spots he should probably mow them down a little bit. So I'll at least give you that. The Yankees, he got the 12.7. So yeah, it's a little scary. But I don't know. I think I'm still going to take a chance on it.
Look, and the thing is, it's still Aaron freaking Nola, right? Like he could turn it on and it wouldn't surprise anybody. And the first month of the season, he just hasn't been great. And all that means is that the ownership is going to be down. If you can get DeGrom and Nola in there, hey, that's a way to get your DeGrom lineups different. We were talking about that. I want to remind everybody too, don't sleep on Drew Zinski. If he gets you 12 points, you're doing backflips at 4K, and you can fit all the bats in.
I will say, Crane, just taking a quick peek at this Houston lineup, it's trash. So, I bumped Noel up a little bit more than I originally, my thought was before I seen this lineup that Houston just rolled out. I mean, damn. I mean, we're talking from 6 to 9. This looks like pure garbage. So, I mean, Nola gets a little bump for me just seeing this Houston lineup.
Well, speaking of pure garbage, let's talk about some of these hitting spots because, you would think with DeGrom, there's just not that many great hitting spots. We're going to go game by game. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see if we can find any stacks that we like that maybe you're not thinking of. I personally have a stack that I love that is going to be 1%. We're going to get to that one later. But first, let's talk about Seattle and Toronto. It's an 8.5 run total. Pretty much a pick 'em here. And, we were talking about Alex Manoah. We're talking about Alex Manoah at 6.9K is going to be chalk. Mangone, shouldn't we have a little bit of interest in the Mariners if we're not going to be playing Manoah?
Yeah, it's definitely not a crazy idea to consider getting some Mariners, right? I think Seattle falls in the bucket of offenses that can hit anyone, right? Would you be surprised if Seattle touched up Jacob deGrom? No, I don't think anyone would be surprised. They have a lot of
would surprise me. That would surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me. I'm just gonna say that. Guys, would it surprise you if Seattle got the job done against them? They have power. I mean,
no, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Wait. In this game, you said against deGrom, and I was like, that would surprise me because he's not playing.
Even against deGrom, would it surprise you? Guys, more than you offense, no?
Yeah, hey, Mangone's focused on some basketball. That's all right. We got you.
No, what I'm trying to get is Seattle are they a top 5 offense in the league yet? Are they there? I don't know if they're there yet, but they're surging. They're making their way. I'll say that.
Let's see here. I mean, they're up there. They're getting up there as far as runs scored. I mean, they're moving up to me. I mean, I like to look at slugging percentage, home runs that are hit. So Seattle is, they're like 20th actually. But
I mean, look, if you don't believe in Manoah, I think the Mariners, you have to have a little bit of interest in because not only are they going to be loaned because of Manoah, but they're going to be loaned because they're pretty expensive. I mean, 5.7 for J-Rod over on DraftKings. The rest of the top 6 in the order are all 4K or more expensive. Nobody's playing the Mariners tonight. And I think in tournaments, I think they're really interesting.
Yeah. And so back to my point was just saying, I think they have enough power and pop to target a lot of different pitchers when they're at low ownership, right? When you can just have a 1% Julio Rodriguez, who's not interested in that, right? Also, Cal Raleigh, he is one of those options that, hey, when catcher sucks, it's never a bad thing to be able to fall on, hey, I got Cal Raleigh in there, and he's not a bad hitting catcher. Ty France, Jared Kelenic, I know he was my play of the day the other day, and he didn't really come through, but he's been crushing the ball this season and has looked really good. Overall, I think this is a good spot. Who doesn't love a little Teoscar Hernandez revenge? I think it's a good low-owned stack that you throw in 5%, right? Or throw in as a little 10%. I think that's perfectly fine. You don't have to go overweight. You don't need to run your teams and say, oh, Saberstein, give me 50% Seattle Mariners. We don't need that much. I think they're in play based on the Manoah ownership and also based on that they're a powerful offense that can get the job done.
Yeah, and I guess in theory we should have interest in Toronto. I mean, it's a pick'em game, and Vegas is telling us that Toronto's going to score a few runs. G-Rise, I don't have a lot of interest in this Blue Jays squad. I don't want to pick on Luis Castillo. Do you?
No, I'm not interested in picking on Louis. I'll just sit that one out. But I mean, the Mariners are interesting. If I was MMEing, I'd definitely consider them. I mean, you look at these lineups that are being rolled out today. I mean, they throw out one of the better lineups from top to bottom than most teams. I mean, Yankees are a little watered down right now. So, I mean, just kind of looking at it, something I do consider, like some of these teams when I'm ready to stack. I don't like teams that are top heavy that have 4 great hitters. And then you're looking at these bottom 4 or 5 hitters, and they're just all 220 hitters that might hit you less than 10 homers all year. I'm not interested in stacking teams like that. So maybe good for one-offs, and I do consider the Indians to be a team like that. So, you know, I see these Indians popping all over on some of these optimizers, and I just laugh. When it's the Indians and Royals, let all you donkeys play that. I'll just laugh at you when it's all said and done because they're not going to hit 3-4 homers in a game. The Indians have 13 homers all year. So, I mean, but the team like the Mariners, I just like that lineup up and down. Julio, he's a beast. As Kelenic's been hitting well, Riley, as Mangone mentioned. So, yeah, I have a little interest, but, you know, there's a few other spots here we can get to as we move along that I like a little better.
Well, I don't know who the hell the Indians are, but the Guardians, they play in our next
They're
game.
always the Indians.
It's a total.
Always.
It's a total of 9 between the Guardians and the Red Sox. Guardians are minus 126. And Mangone, as G. Rison was saying, Guardians popping in optimizers. I'm not interested. I'm going to let other people do that. I like other spots more. Are you interested in Cleveland?
It's a shame Chief Wahoo or whatever his name is, he died for us, so now we have the Guardians. What can we do? Pour one out for him on a Friday.
Here's the Chief.
Cheers to the Chief. But the Guardians are definitely a team that I understand what G. Rison's saying. Like, you look at the team and you're like, yeah, they pop, they're fine. But, like, do I want to play 5-man stacks of them? No. I think mini stacks are certainly fine. Like, you can get away with that. Jose Ramirez, throwing a Steven Kwan, and those are fine. Josh Bell. I want to keep it to mini stacks only. I don't need the 5-man Guardian stacks. I'm out on those. And I'm not really that excited about the Boston Red Sox here. I mean, do I want to target Shane Bieber on this slate? There's enough bad pitching options that I don't need to be targeting Shane Bieber here. So I think this is a game that all I'll have is maybe some mini stacks of the Guardians, but that's about it, Crane. I kind of want to keep moving on to some other games.
Yeah, I'm not messing with the Guardians. I'm not messing with the Indians. I'm not messing with any Sox on this slate. And I'm also not messing with our next game. It's the Braves and the Mets, 7.5 run total. Neither of these pitchers really get blown up. Neither of these pitchers are going to do all that well because this game is probably getting canceled. G. Rison, I will allow about 10 seconds of talk on this game. So if you have some hot take on the Braves and the Mets, let's hear it because I don't think this game's going to go.
I mean, it'd just be a regular fun game to watch in general, but we're not going to get to watch it. So I'm just going to sit out, and the rain seems like it's coming through, but yeah, I'm going to pass. I mean, it's got a 7.5 total, even if it was in play. I mean, Peterson and Fried would both be somebody you might be able to use in pitching matchups, but I'm going to pass. This one here is going to get eaten up by Mother Nature.
Mangone, are you also getting eaten up by Mother Nature?
I don't know if I am, but I will find out with Chief Meteorologist Draft Cheat on the next show coming up, right? He's like the other guy here. So I'll find out from him if I'm playing anyone from this game. But if I am playing anyone, you know who it's going to be? It's going to be the pitchers. It's just very simple. So no bats for me. This is an easy kind of cross-off game for me from the hitter's perspective.
All right, Rays and White Sox. I'm also not playing these Sox. 8.5 run total. The Rays minus 148 on the road against Lucas Giolito. Mangone, I'm going to start with you because the Rays they're just hitting the crap out of the ball right now. They're just dominate everybody. Giolito's not usually a pitcher I want to pick on. The Rays, though, aren't the team I want to fade very often. Have a pretty high run total here. What do we think about Tampa?
Yeah, Crane, I feel like an idiot. So yesterday, I need some accountability. I went out here and I said, you know, I built my team and I liked what I had, and I wanted Shane McClanahan, and I couldn't get Shane McClanahan. So I settled for Dylan Cease like a moron and targeted the Rays. So it was one of those last-second decisions. It didn't work out. I had good teams, but the Dylan Cease did not work. So this game gives me some flashbacks of yesterday. I don't want to even touch it. The wind is not even a great factor. Yeah, it's blowing out the right a little bit, but it's 53 degrees. It's cold. this just doesn't seem like a great game. Yes, it's an 8.5 total. That kind of looks semi-appealing, but there's other better ones on this slate, right? It's a core slate. There's some other hitting environments that look a little better and spots that I want to target. So I'm going to do my best to stay away from this game, Crane. I think just full X for me.
Yep, I'm going to do the same thing. And if Tampa scores 13 runs again, I lose. And that's just how it goes. G. Ryzen, are you playing Tampa or are you playing even the White Sox?
No, I'm not really interested in either or. But, I mean, hey, a long shot stack would be the Tampa Rays. I mean, Giolito gave up 2 homers last time they pitched to him. That White Sox bullpen isn't really that good either. So, it has potential. I mean, they are the best hitting team in baseball. I mean, I can't argue with you. If you were putting in a bunch of teams, I mean, I can't be mad at you. If you want to throw some Rays in there against some Giolito, I can't be mad at you, but I wouldn't do it if I was playing in, some shorter fields. But I mean, if you want to throw in some MMEs, maybe you want to consider throwing in a Tampa stack just because they are the best. You're going to get them at low ownership, and really that bullpen's not that great.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they have one of the higher team run totals on the entire slate. So if you want to play Tampa, go right ahead. The problem is you're going to have to pay up for do it. Yandy Diaz, 4.9. Wander Franco, 5.2. Randy Rosarena, former Cardinal great, 5.7. So it's going to be tough to fit these guys in, especially if you're playing DeGrom. But if you want to spend these prices and you say everybody else is going to Coors Field, and I'm probably going to Coors Field too, I don't mind Tampa at all from a tournament standpoint. If you want a nice little 5% ownership with all the upside in the world, Tampa is a squad for you. I don't think either of these next teams have I'm just not going to play either of these teams. It's New York at the Rangers. It's a 7-run total. Jacob deGrom, Clark Schmidt, G. Ryzen. I mean, you're not playing any offense here, right?
No, I'm not interested in really either offense in this one. I haven't even seen – I don't think the Yankee lineup's dropped yet. I'm pretty sure Judge isn't going to be in it. I think it's going to be a little bit more watered down, which is why I think DeGrom is even a better play. But
Willie Calhoun, it's out. Here.
I haven't seen it.
Rizzo, Gleyber Torres.
Oh, there it is. I had to hit refresh.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Then
Willie Aaron Hicks is an automatic 3 Ks in this lineup. He stinks. Cabrera. I could see DeGrom just mowing this. No Judge, no Stanton.
Yeah, I'm off of these guys. I guess the Rangers may be a little interesting. Travis Jankowski hitting second at 2.9. I don't think he's the worst play. You get Jack in the bag upside there. Mangone, any interest in the Rangers for you? Because I know you're not playing the Yankees.
Yeah, not playing the Yankees, and I don't think I'm playing the Rangers, even though I like Travis's, but Travis Jankowski is not it for me today. I will pass on him, and I'll pass on this game, Crane. There's games coming up that we're going to discuss and talk about that I think are in way better spots, so rather pass on this one.
All right, Phillies at Astros, 7.5-run total. Another low total and a couple of good pitchers on the mound. We are flying through this show because guess what? Much like the last game, I am not playing either of these offenses. G. Ryzen, are you playing either of these offenses against Nola or Framber Valdez?
No, I mean, if that Houston lineup was its normal Houston lineup, I might consider it against a guy like Nola. It's kind of almost the same spot as the Giolito spot, actually. But, I mean, this lineup they rolled out, I think, is just garbage. So I'd pass on that. And, I mean, and as far as that Philly lineup, I mean, without Harper, you look at the bottom part of that lineup with Harrison, Sosa, and Christian Pache. I mean, I'm just not all that impressed with it. Maybe some one-offs if you wanted to go against Framber, if that's what you want to do. But I wouldn't really recommend that. I always love playing some Trey Turner. He's one of my favorites to roster, but I'm just going to leave this game alone. I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, period. I'm not touching it. Mangone, I mean, there's not a chance Mangone is playing this spot. Not a chance.
I don't see myself playing this spot, but G. Ryzen said he wasn't impressed. And you know what? I'm not impressed with the likes. I went in and I put my in there. Craig, we're at 60. I was number 66. I mean,
I'm going to take a little bit of fault for this. Okay. Because I never asked, I never said, I never gave the click the like or take a hike. I never threw any of that out there. Guys, just click the freaking like button. We've got 306 of you watching right now.
Take my hike.
Yeah. I mean, just hook us up. It helps us out over here at Run Pure Sports. We're over here giving you some free advice on tonight's MLB DFS slate. We would appreciate the help. Well, see, that's a problem. We just got to 305 people. One person left. I said, click a like or take a hike. One person actually took a hike. Now, the rest of you, I'm going to need you to make up for that and click the damn like button. Even if you're not liking these even if they're not liking these games that we're talking about. Philly and Houston, I understand not liking that. Mangone's not in it. G. Rison's not in it. I'm not in it. We are going to be on the next game, though. It's the Angels and the Brewers. It's a 9-run total. The Brewers at home, -130 favorites. Mangone, I'm going to kick it off with you this time because this is one of those games where if you want a game with a higher total that maybe has a little bit lower ownership, this could be the spot for you. Mangone, is this a spot you're looking at?
Yeah, this could be the spot that I'm slightly interested in, Crane. I think both sides are in play as well. We got a nice 9 total. I should have, what I should have done? I don't know if the roof's open in Milwaukee. I should have called the roof hotline. That all you got to do is click Google and call it, and it lets you know if it's open. But hey, if the roof's open, that's going to be a plus too. Little 9 total. I don't think either of these pitchers are pitchers that I'm scared of. I don't think anyone has ever said Wade Miley's on the mound. I'm afraid of him. And Tyler Anderson, sure. He pitched a lot better with the Dodgers, but let me tell you, it hasn't been good with the Angels. So I think we got to like some Brewers bats. Christian Yelich, lefty. People will ignore him. William Contreras makes the catcher position easy. You got a cheap punt in Mike Brousseau at 2.3K. Brian Anderson, 3.5. Luke Voigt, he can smash the ball. I think it's a former Cardinal too there, Crane. So I don't know.
He is a former Cardinal.
Yep. Then we got Rowdy Tellez, 4.4K lefty. People will want these guys. Joey Weimer, he hit a home run the other day. I put him on the cash chart, and he got the job done. I know he was in the winning lineup of one of the guys who won 50K here the other day on the early slate. So congrats to him. Joey Weimer will probably be back in his lineup because of that. When he wins you 50K, you definitely go back to the well. So I think this Brewers team is definitely one that I'm very interested in. I like them a lot here against Tyler Anderson. And on the opposite side, the Angels certainly are a team that have been hitting the ball a lot better. Yes, they got to play against the Oakland A's. That's part of the reason why they had a big series the other day. But you get Taylor Ward at 4.3, Mike Trout, 6.1, Ohtani, 6.3K. Rendon, you could easily skip throughout the lineup because of how bad he's playing. You got Renfroe, Drury, Gio Urshela. I mean, Zach Neto's a cheaper option at the shortstop position. I think this is one of the better game stacks of this slate if you had to pick. And again, a lot of people are gravitating towards Coors. I think this is a really, really good spot. So I'm in on this game, Crane. I think it's one that I'm going to target.
G. Rison, are you on this game too?
Yeah, I actually like the Milwaukee side way more than I like the Angels side. Let's not forget the Angels just played the A's, man. The A's suck. So I'm not getting overly excited about what they just did. But, man, Tyler Anderson's been bad. He's been giving up fly balls left and right. You know, you're looking at pretty heavy right-hand heavy lineup here. He doesn't strike out righties at all. But I will lay caution, let's not. I've seen some Brewer games. Luke Voigt and Brousseau are sitting there in the 4-6 hole. They got some severe pinch hit risk.
Yeah,
so,
that's exactly what I was going to say, too. With those guys, they're going to, at those prices, pull in some ownership. And just know if you're playing those guys, you're probably only looking at 2 at-bats. So be careful playing those guys.
Exactly. So that does kind of break up the stack there for me. But a guy like Willy Adames, I think, is a great play. I mean, even as a one-off, I really like him. I think this Brewers lineup is really good up and down. Brian Anderson's been hitting the ball well. I think William Contreras is another great play here today. So, Brewers for me. I'd rather be on the Brewers. Wade Miley's kind of been sneaky good. I'm just a little bit afraid of going up against Wade Miley, especially like a team like the Angels coming off just playing against just a softball pitching team with the A's. But for me, I think the Brewers are one of the sneakier stacks here today that I'm definitely interested in. And maybe even as like a secondary stack, I think they're probably more so a great secondary stack that you might be able to throw in with some Coors Field if you're looking at maybe being a little bit different today. So Brewers for me, I think are in a great spot.
Yeah, I think the Brewers are the perfect mini stack candidate. Yelich, Adames, Contreras. You're filling that catcher spot with Contreras. You're filling that shortstop spot with Willy Adames. If I'm playing the Brewers, I'm probably just mini stacking them, or I'm throwing Rowdy Tellez in there because lefty, he's the one that's not going to get pinch hit for, and he's got big time power upside. I do like that. In the chat, I wanted to say that Lakin, he says Rendon, is 7 for 12 against Miley. Rendon has been around the league for about 700 years, and he used to be good. He's not good anymore. Let's not get worried about what his career batter versus pitcher is against Wade Miley. We ain't worried about that over here at Run Pure Sports. We are worried, though, about this Coors Field game. It's Arizona and Colorado. It's an 11-run total. Diamondbacks, -130 favorite. And guess what? Arizona is too freaking cheap. Guess what? The Rockies, not quite as cheap as Arizona, but they're pretty cheap. So Mangone, we have all the recipes of chalk here. We have the highest total. We have Jacob deGrom, who's going to be chalky at pitcher. We have a Coors Field game where it's a little bit too cheap. So, Mangone, if we play Coors Field, how do we get different? And should we be messing with Coors Field because it's going to be so tough to get different?
Yeah, I think you can play Coors, but like this is how I handle it now. So I used to be in the camp of, hey, Coors Field, like I just try and fade it if I could. I'd either be all in or all out, right? It was just simple. Now the new approach I've been doing this season that I like so far, I'm not sold on it completely yet, but I kind of like just taking it out as the 5-man stacks and having it as mini stacks. We're like, yeah, runs are going to be scored, right? This game's probably not going to be 1-0, but I can easily get some mini stacks mixed in there. And if I have a very low owned stack with it as a 5-man, well, my team's unique in that way, right? So that's kind of how I've approached it. And that's how I'm going to continue to approach it. Maybe my approach will be refined a little bit as the season goes on, but right now that's the approach I've kind of enjoyed, and I think it works out pretty well. So that's how I'm going to handle it here. If I have to pick a side, it's probably the Arizona side. I mean, I do like I like this Arizona Diamondbacks team. There's a little bit of bias there, I think, for me. I think they're just like a really fun team to roster. But Kyle Freeland is not this guy that I'd love to typically target. Kyle Freeland kind of knows how to pitch in Coors Field a little bit and get those ground balls. So that's why I'm okay with the mini stack. If you do play Arizona, obviously Gurriel, who hits lefties well, he's at 4.2K. I think he's in play. I love Corbin Carroll. I think he's an awesome bat. He's someone that I would consider. You got Nick Ahmed against lefties. I know we've talked up him a little bit. He's in that 7 hole as like a cheapie. I know Big T likes him. I don't think he's the worst idea. If you did play someone, Evan Longoria, he's pretty good against lefties. I don't think he's a bad option at 4K. Kendall Marte is 5.2. I doubt I'll spend the 5.2 tag on him at second base because I doubt I'll have the salary to do it. And then Emmanuel Rivera, I should talk about him at third base. If you want a punt option, donate him and donate Christian Walker at that 3.8K tag. So overall, there are some really good Arizona options that I'm going to consider. And then on the Colorado side, again, they are going up against who's the pitcher? Merrill Kelly. Not that scared of Merrill Kelly. Who do you want to roster here, though, in this spot? I would say I'll stay away from 5.2K Chris Bryant. Like, do I need to play him? No, I'm out on Chris Bryant. Charlie Blackmon's perfectly fine. I know I'm trying to see who else I would even like. McMahon, someone I
Jerkson Profar is cheap. Jerkson Profar's cheap.
Yeah, Profar's not bad. You know where I got stuck, Crane? I got stuck on Bretton Doyle. I don't know what a Bretton Doyle is, but
that's not a real player. They created him in the lab a little bit ago. It's one of those Madden you draft him in 2033 players.
Yeah. That's what caught me up. But I guess maybe I'd stick to the Diaz, Cron, McMahon, and Blackmon and Profar. Maybe those 4, and then kind of move on. Just don't need too much Colorado.
Yep. Another guy you mentioned, Emmanuel Rivera, going to be incredibly chalky. He's also much like those Milwaukee guys we were talking about, a big-time pinch hit risk. So be careful with him. G. Rison, what are you doing with the Coors game, man? They're cheap. You got to like them a little bit. Are you playing Coors or are you fading Coors?
Yeah, I love the Arizona spots. One of my favorite spots. I get it's kind of going to be kind of chalky, but I'd be a little bit overweight on it. I just think I like that lineup. I think, a guy like Gurriel is in a great spot. Walker's been hitting the ball. Carroll's been hitting the ball. I think this team is just one of those teams that's, one of the better offenses in baseball. I think this is a good spot. I mean, to be truthful, I don't really like the Colorado spot. But I feel as if you game stack this, you're going to get Colorado fairly lower than what you should in a game with 11. So, to me, game stack this. I think if you game stack it, you got a pretty good shot. I mean, it's obviously the highest over-under by 2 runs. And I think you're going to get Colorado at less than 10% ownership, actually. I don't think Colorado's going to get any ownership.
I got to say, with the ownership looking like it is, I like the Rockies a ton. Merrill Kelly's the guy that can walk a lot of guys, and we know in Coors Field that could just absolutely kill you. He hasn't been good this year. So I look at this Rockies side at no ownership, and I think that's where I'm going to side because hearing you guys talk about Arizona, everybody around the industry today is talking about, I love the Diamondbacks. I love the Diamondbacks. Kyle Freeland sucks. And while that's all true, if one team is going to be 40% and the other team's going to be 15%, it's Coors Field. I'm going with the 15% side. So to me, the Rockies, an elite tournament option. And if people aren't going there, I don't mind that one bit. We got 2 games left. Let's talk Reds and A's. 8.5 run total. Luis Sissa, Drew Ruzinski. G. Rison, we were talking a little bit about this game earlier, and I know you had some opinions on this game. Talk to me about this Reds A's game. Is this a spot where you're going?
No, I see a lot of people like it. I'm normally the first one to tell you this, that A's are Coors Field, man. Just whoever's playing the A's, stack them up. But today they are in Oakland. I don't like this Cincinnati lineup at all. I mean, there's nothing here that excites me. I mean, you're sitting here looking at this: India, Friedel, Steer, Stevenson, Fraley, Ramos, Senzo, Fairchild, Barrio. No thanks. I mean, I'm just not excited about it. I mean, this game, honestly, Crane, could be 10-9, and all you're going to see is doubles and singles and, stuff like that. I mean, I want 3-4 homers in a game to ship a tournament. I'm not looking at playing small ball, and I think that's what you're going to get a lot of, especially in this big park here in Oakland. I mean, you're only looking at a total of 8.5. Vegas knows this Oakland team's bullpen sucks too. So, I mean, just looking here, but Oakland is a team here I think you might be able to get at lower ownership. I just don't really like playing this stadium, but if I'm going to play any side, I think it would be the Oakland side here. So that's a sucks. I think, you might be able to get some sneaky low ownership here on them, especially if you want to use a guy like DeGrom. I think, Ace roll out that stack pretty nicely. You might be able to, bloat it up with the team that you want to because they're so cheap. But to me, I'm just going to stay away from the Reds here tonight. I just don't like this lineup, and I'm going to let it pass. Maybe let a few other people load up. If it beats me, Crane. I've been taking the opinion all season. I said many times, I'm going to let these shit teams that just can't hit homers, I'll let everybody else play them, especially these weak lineups. I'm just not interested. I'll find me some other spot, and if I lose, I lose. But, I mean, go look at the top of these tournaments. You're not finding the Indians, the Royals, the Tigers. You're not finding teams like that. So
definitely not finding the Indians.
Here.
Definitely not finding the Indians. They don't exist anymore.
Indians
forever. I understand. Mangone, Indians and Reds, A's.
No, I don't know, Crane. There's like some like easy things sometimes. Like when you put it in perspective like this, right? Let's put it in real easy perspective. It's a hitter's park, and the 4th highest paid player on that team is Ken Griffey Jr. Okay, you know what I mean? Like this team sucks. Like it's not good. Like, and I get it. The Reds, we will play them at times, but you know when we're gonna play them? We're gonna play them when it's hot and it's in Cincinnati and like they're playing the Pirates or something, right? Like that's when we're gonna play them. I know the Pirates have been better this year, yada yada yada. But you get what I'm saying. It doesn't seem like a spot to really target. So I'm out on this game. If the Reds and A's beat me tonight, I'll just go watch some Avalanche and Seattle Kraken, I guess.
Go Kraken, baby. Screw you, Avalanche. I hate the Avalanche. I don't hate a team, though, in our next game, in our last game, and it's not going to be the team you expect me to like. It's the Cardinals that actually maybe you will expect me to like, and I am an insufferable homer. It's the Cardinals and the Dodgers, 8.5 run total. The Cardinals are underdogs. The Dodgers are minus 138. I'm going to throw it to me first because I watched this Cardinal team a ton. I have not sacked this Cardinal team much this season. In fact, I think outside of Coors, I haven't really touched the Cardinals at all. Tonight, though, is going to be a team when I play the St. Louis Cardinals, because St. Louis is a team. What do? They suck against good pitching. They suck against a lot of breaking stuff. Now you're getting a guy in Dustin May, walks a lot of guys, can't strike anybody else, gives up hard contact, and throws a lot of fastballs. And that is key because fastballs are the only freaking pitch that the Cardinals can hit. And this Cardinal team is going to be 1% tonight. They're underdogs in a stadium that's not great. And they've got all the upside in the world because this team, it's a team that strikes out a lot, not a concern against Dustin May, Goldie, Nolan Gorman, Nolan Arenado, Alec Burleson, maybe even Wilson Contreras. I'm not sure I can go that. But this Cardinal team's a squad that nobody's going to play. They're going to be 1%. If you kind of look at the matchup and the kind of pitcher that the Cardinals hit, a lot of it lines up to be a really good situation for St. Louis. I know some people may play the Dodgers. I don't blame them. Jack Flaherty is a shell of his former self. But Mangone, do you think I'm insane?
I actually don't think you're insane. I think it's not a bad route to go. The one thing too that's nice, like weather's not great around the league today, and like it is 67 and the wind's blowing out, right? At least that's nice. And Dodger Stadium ain't the A's Stadium, right? It's similar weather, but like that A's Stadium is a lot bigger. So yeah, I don't think it's the craziest idea. These guys hit the ball hard. Dustin May, we're not scared of, and he comes with that like kind of like better name recognition. Dustin May kind of feels like Jack Flaherty 2-3 years ago, and everyone was like, well, his name's Jack Flaherty. It's like, well, the name isn't as good as you think, right? So I think we should take advantage of Dustin May and take a chance on them. They do have some expensive price tags, which is going to keep their ownership down as well. I might use them more as mini stacks just because of the price that you have on some of these guys, but I think the Cardinals are firmly in play tonight.
Yeah, and by the way, I forgot to mention Dustin May, his xFIP a full run higher than his ERA, so he is due for some negative regression. G. Risen, I know we talked about this a little bit before the show. Are you with me on the Cardinals?
I don't mind the Cardinals. The Dodgers bullpen has a 5.1 ERA, 5.18 ERA. I'm sorry. I mean, so the bullpen isn't all that great. If you get to Dustin May, he only gets 2 rounds through the batting order. I don't mind that at all. You get that extra at bat. And, as we just discussed, we went through this whole slate, how many games we skipped. We weren't interested. I mean, there isn't that many spots that are really glaring. So you got to take a stand somewhere. I do like this one along with, like what we were talking about, like going against Giolito or something like that. So, you know what, if you want to be different, you want to win a big tournament, I think, you're going to have to make a decision like that. So whether it's like somebody like the Cardinals or whether you're going to go with somebody like the Rays, or, you want to take a stand and go with Milwaukee against Anderson, or, go against Nola tonight. I mean, that's what you're going to have to do. Make your decision. I mean, if you start your team with DeGrom on FanDuel and you throw in 4 Arizona guys, well, I got news for you. So did 30 or 40% of the other people that started their lineup. So, just be conscious of that. So, that's why I was saying you want to be in a big tournament, big field tournament, maybe look at going like Framber Valdez or somebody else. But, smaller fields, don't be afraid to be more chalky. If you're playing in a 20-man, 10-man, 100-man, I think is even decent to be a little more chalky. But just be aware of what you're playing, I guess is my advice here. But as far as game stacks, so, man, you guys, we're talking. I'm going to say that Coors Field, I think, man, the more I think about it, I think that's a pretty good spot for a game stack because you're going to get the other half of that, as we were already discussing, at a pretty low ownership.
Yeah, Cardinals and Rockies, that is a tough game to stack, by the way. It's expensive to stack. Another reason I like the Cardinals, you can't afford them, which means that nobody's going to afford them. All right, Mangone, you are the like master, so I'm going to leave this up to you. Do we have enough likes for the plays of the day? And I'm saying this slowly because I know you're checking it right now, and I'm trying to give you a little bit of time to find it on your computer.
I had closed it out, but I'm pulling it up now. I hit my like and I closed it out because my computer sucks. So we're going to pull it up.
We're just glad to have you, man. I'm just glad the computer's working.
Yeah, the computer was definitely struggling. So let's see. We are at 133. So here's the thing, Kareem. I hate setting a number. Like, this is what I want to do. I want to, like, look at the likes and be satisfied. I want to be like, oh, you guys did a great job. Like, I can just, like, look at the ratio and not set a number. Like, how about this, Kareem? Let's go through the stacks right now. Let's go through our favorite stacks and then wow me in the next, like, I don't know, 15 to 20 seconds. I don't know, however long it is. Hit the like. You have your chance. Maybe we'll stall for 2-3 minutes. Wow me from now. I saw the number was 139. I'll look back in a second once we finish the stacks.
All right, I'm going to go through my favorite stacks, and I'm going to give you 2 of them. I'm going to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. Nobody's playing him. Dustin May, very overrated, and from a pitch mix standpoint, the Cardinals match up really well. And my other one's going to be the Colorado Rockies. If the Diamondbacks are chalk, if the Rockies are overlooked, that's where I want to go. G. Risen, favorite stacks, who you got?
Favorite one would be Arizona. That is my favorite. And then I'm going to go Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's my second favorite stack, so I think I'd go there. I'm going to agree with you. I think Colorado is a decent stack, so I don't mind that game stack more we go. It's just Merrill Kelly, man. He's just hard to get to sometimes. But, yeah, I'm staying away from them, the Reds and A's game, though.
Mangone, who you got?
Yeah, I think Milwaukee's going to be my number 1. Arizona will be my number 2. And then number 3, and you can like the pitcher and you can like the stack, too. I'm going to go with Seattle. I just think they're going to be a little overlooked today. And I don't know. I'm going to take a chance on them again. I liked them the other day, and I did not get the J.P. Crawford Grand Slam. I got some of the other points, but I don't know. I think Seattle could be a good one, so let's go with that. But Crane, I think now's the time I got to look. Do you think the people
right.
want me? Before I look, do you think they will?
I I do. I think we probably got over 150 and we're good to go.
Let's see. We're at 155. You know what?
150. I'm going to have a safety meeting. Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's be nice. It's a Friday. I want to keep the good mojo flowing. Big T and JSU did a nice NBA show for the people. They brought Wilson on as well. So if you want to check out some NBA winners before the MLB ones, right when you close this out, before you head over to the premium show and get DC's takes, do that. But let's give out plays of the day, Crane. It sounds like you got a hot Cardinals play that the people need. G. Risen seems dialed in. Let's give out the plays of the day.
I do. My play of the day, he is $5,800 on DraftKings. So for that price tag, he damn well better do something. That is Mr. Paul Goldschmidt, first baseman, St. Louis Cardinals. He's hitting a dinger tonight. He might even hit a second one. So Goldie is my play of the day. G. Risen, who you got?
I have my favorite play in that Milwaukee game. That's Willie Adames. That is my up and smoke. Smoke it up, smoky play of the day.
Mangone, give us one.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with Milwaukee as well. I'm going to an unconventional guy, Mr. Brian Anderson. Play him at third base, play him in the outfield, a little flexibility there. He hits lefties pretty well. Brian Anderson will be the old ping pong or Sweet Travis, whichever one you want. Play him.
Man, you guys just love the Brewers tonight. I'm sitting here playing with a Rocky stack. Maybe I need to check out the Brewers.
We feel sorry
as well.
for Milwaukee after losing that basketball series. Maybe that's what it is.
Oh, man. Giannis is just got to be at the game crying. All right. We got to get off here. We got more premium shows coming up. Thanks for watching, everybody. We appreciate you. Check us out over on runpuresports.com. We're crushing all the fantasy. I'm using us for hockey tonight. I'm using us for basketball tonight. My baseball is ready to go. It's got to be a good time. And I'll tell you what, if you're hanging out in the Discord tonight, I will probably be hanging out in the hockey Discord watching the Seattle Kraken just kick the living shit out of the Colorado Avalanche. Let's go Kraken, baby. For Mangone, for G. Risen, I am Eric. Thank you for watching, everybody. We will catch you later. Peace.